I am Pamela. I'm a certified career and mindset coach. Last year, I was recognised by Yahoo Finance as a top 10 career coach to watch in 2020. I have over 10 years experience working in human resources, recruiting and sales, and I had a business degree in HR as well. My industry experience is across quite a broad range of sectors. I've worked with professional services, law firms, real estate, including construction, utilities, media, pharmaceuticals, industrial, and securities. So there's quite a range of organizations that I've worked with, both in terms of where I've actually worked and the clients that have worked with me. So hopefully that assures you that the knowledge I'm bringing to the table today will hopefully help you in your job search. So today's agenda is going to be all about interviews, as I just said. It's going to be helping you know how to prepare for your interviews, what questions to expect in your interviews, great questions to ask, and managing your mindset. So, like I say, let me know if you have any questions, but we'll launch right into it. So you may wish to take notes, and happy to send this around if you so wish afterwards. So it's all about, I've just realized my video isn't on, so I'll put my video on so that you can see me. Hello, everybody. So it's all about getting interview ready, and it's good to take time to prepare for your interview. You know it's coming. You're often given, if not a couple of days, at least a week, if not longer. And the biggest mistake that I see people make is that they simply don't prepare. And it's crazy. You have time to go in and get yourself mentally prepared and get yourself intellectually prepared by way of literally thinking about how you're going to set yourself up for success, which means thinking about some of the questions that are going to come up, having a think about the answers that you might give, practicing, and having all of your ducks in a row so that when the day comes up, everything is ready to go. So I'm going to go into this in more detail. So 1 week before your interview, or as soon as you hear about your interview, the first thing that you should be doing is research, practicing it, and reviewing things. So the research that you're going to be doing is researching the company that you're applying to. Seems really obvious, but it's surprising how many people don't actually prepare why they want to work for that company. Now, later on in the webinar today, I will be sharing common interview questions with you, but bear in mind what I say as we go. I'm telling you now, one of those questions is going to be, why do you want to work here? And it can definitely take the form, these questions can take different formats. So it might be, why do you want to work here? Why did you apply to this role? What interests you about this company? What interests you about this sector or industry? But basically, they're just looking to hear that you are actually interested in the job that they are offering. So doing your research is number one, and you can do that in a couple of ways. Look on the company website and familiarize yourself with what the company is. Now, there is a famous quote where if you ask the owner of McDonald's what type of company McDonald's is, they're not going to say what you think they're going to say. He's not going to say we're a fast food company. He's going to say we're a real estate business. Because what makes McDonald's so successful is the real estate that they own, the properties that they own. If you think about it, every major location in any major city has a McDonald's in its prime locations. What makes McDonald's successful is not the burger, because you know that as great as McDonald's burgers are, there are way better burgers that you can buy in other restaurants or takeaway places. Don't get me wrong, McDonald's is super tasty, but what makes McDonald's so successful is its real estate. The reason I'm telling you this is because let's just say you were applying to a job at McDonald's. Your average McDonald's manager probably would say, yes, we're a burger company, obviously. So tell me why you like us, what you like about our company ethos and values. And that's important. But certainly the more senior you get, and as you get into management roles and strategic roles, understanding the company that you are applying to is really, really important. And you can find that information on the company website, on the About Us pages, in career pages. And if it's a huge company, so just think, is it global? Is it world renowned? Are they publicly listed? Then you can also look on their investor pages. And in their investor pages, you tend to get strategic reports and information about the organization. And then you can see what that company really cares about. So do your research. Also, double check the job description and double check the advert. You want to go in knowing confidently what you're applying to. And it sounds obvious, but if you've been applying for a number of roles, then it's important that you know exactly the job you're going to and the key things that are on that job description so that you can talk to your experience that aligns with that. So the next thing is practice. Practice the questions that you are likely to be asked. And I said again, I will go through some of those questions later, and you can use the STAR technique, but this is something that you want to be doing way in advance of the actual interview. There's a lot of people think, because obviously this is your career history and this is all of your experience you're talking about, you kind of would expect that you know it pretty well because it's you. But the problem is in an interview, the pressure's on and you're expected to perform and you don't know what questions are going to be asked. And there is something to be said with having the thoughts at the front of your mind instead of having to dig at the back of your mind for things that you haven't had to think about in that way, probably ever before or in some time. So by practicing, it's kind of like bringing all of the essential ingredients, like when you're cooking a recipe for dinner. If you're anything like me, you quite like to get all the ingredients that you need and bring them out from the back of the cupboard so that you can easily access them for the actual dish, so that you're not rummaging around wasting time trying to figure things out while they're burning on the stove. So by practicing your questions, you're getting everything out of the cupboard, getting it all lined up nicely, so as and when you need it, it's ready to grab super quick. So that's why practice is so important, and it's helpful because it helps you look good, it helps you feel prepared, and it will help you feel more confident. And confidence is one of the key things when it comes to going into an interview, because confidence means that you can show up, you can be present, you can deliver, and it's more likely that people are going to engage with you because you're more in the room and you're more ready to present yourself in a really impressive way. STAR technique, I'll go over a bit later. It's a technique in which you can use it to answer your questions. So STAR is situation, task, action, results. So basically, if you're asked a question, the way that you answer it is by setting the scene, the situation, set the context, explain what the task is that you had to do, explain the action that you took, and then the results. Because remember, companies exist to create revenue, to provide products, and to provide services. And if you can keep that result at the forefront of your mind with every example that you give, then you're going to be giving a good answer to your question. So it's always about thinking, what was the result? How did I make money? How did I save money? How was I being productive? How was I improving a task or creating an efficiency? So when you think about the result, it's all about adding value to the business. And if you can show that you add value by working for a business, then they're going to want you to work for them. So that's the STAR technique, but I'll go over that again later. And then review the CV and the job description. So like I said just now, you're probably going to be applying for a few jobs if you're job searching. So just remind yourself of where you're even applying and exactly what was the job description. So let's just say you were applying for 2 roles that had the same job title. Let's say it was a marketing executive role or a marketing coordinator role. Marketing coordinator role at company A could be all about social media. the marketing coordinator role at company B could be all about the website. You're not going to know that until you read the job description. So by checking the job description and making sure that it aligns and you're thinking about that specific role means that you're going to be more focused and your answers are going to be more relevant to the role. And know your CV. Again, don't take for granted that you know everything that you've ever done. If you're anything like me, I forget dates all the time. I forget the names of things all the time. I need prompts. So remember your CV, refresh yourself with what you've written on your CV and get crystal clear on the facts so that when they ask you to repeat things, you can bring it to life for them and you can talk about it really confidently. So that's 1 week before the interview or as soon as you get the interview confirmation. 1 day before the interview. So the day before, you've done loads of preparation, you've practiced your answers, and you practice them either by writing notes or by talking to them in the mirror, talking to yourself in the mirror and practicing saying it out loud, or practicing it with a friend. Or if you have a family relation or somebody at work that you trust that you can go over this stuff with, but practice literally makes perfect. There's a reason why that saying is so popular. It's true. So 1 day before the interview, check your email for any new communications. Things change, interviewers change, dates and times can change, and locations can change. So double check for any updated communications so that you're prepared. Do a quick refresh and go back over your preparation and your research. This is not the time to start your preparation. You've done that already. This is a time to refresh. So don't cram in. And I know we all do it. We've all done it with exams and coursework and things. And you probably know by now that you shouldn't do it. And if you do and you're that person, then good luck to you. And I'm not going to pretend I've not done it because I definitely have. But trust me when I say you will feel a lot more confident and a lot more prepared if you've already done the hard work and the day before you're simply refreshing on what you've prepared. So I would say, as you prepare your interview questions, and like I say, I'll go over the common ones later, try not to write out a whole script like you're memorizing it from a play. Because the problem with that is that what happens if the question shows up a little bit differently to how you prepared it? For example, if you had prepared your elevator pitch to say your first question that you get asked, tell me about yourself. But in the interview, they say, oh, will you give me a rundown of your most recent career history? That could throw you because it wasn't exactly the question you were expecting. So don't write scripts of your answers, just keep it top level, keep it like bullet points and key points that you want to remember, and practice it by saying it, because saying it is how you bring it from the back of your memory to the forefront of your memory, and you're more likely to be able to articulate it better in the interview. So just refresh your research, do a quick check on socials, on the news, and on the website for any new information. So let's just say you were applying to a marketing role. It's very common that there's going to be new news updates or social media updates that you could refer to in your interview. And that would be a really good point of reference to talk about. Let's just say it's a company that's in the news. So maybe you're applying to a pharmaceutical company for a lab technician role, and they've just released a new drug like a COVID vaccine. You'd want to notice that that was in the news and refer to it in the interview. So it's always really good practice to just check the news the day before and see what's come up about that organization so that you can go in with any fresh knowledge that is worth bringing up. Or any news or any scandals that have come up, it's always worth highlighting. Prepare your outfit and prepare how you are going to show up the day before. So, do you feel good wearing a suit? Do you feel good wearing red? Do you feel good wearing your favorite aftershave or your favorite perfume? Do you prefer to have your hair up or down? So think about these things and plan it the day before. Have your shirt ironed, and even if it's a virtual interview, you want to dress up for success. There is a reason Superman wears a cape. It's because it's also practical for all the like stretching and weird moves that he does, but it also puts him into the zone. And it is the same with work. In my most important meetings where I have to really show up and be my most confident self, I have a power outfit. It's a red dress and a black blazer and high heels. And I've worn that when I've been sat in a virtual interview in my front room on a laptop because it makes me feel confident. If confidence for you is wearing your best shirt and your best suit, then you go wear it. It doesn't matter that it's virtual. And especially if it's in person, you want to show up looking the part. If in doubt, I always say overdress to impress when it comes to an interview, because showing up like you care and that you've prepared makes a difference. So prepare your outfit the day before and just go with it. Don't overthink it. Choose one, stick to it, and just choose it in the morning and just go for it and stick with it, because the worst thing you can do is waste time choosing an outfit that doesn't serve you. It's actually called decision fatigue. And there is a reason why some of the most successful people, like Steve Jobs, wore the same outfit for everything, because he couldn't be bothered with the decision fatigue that it caused him. So it really does make a difference by having all of your stuff prepared the night before. I can't emphasize that enough. And then plan your journey, check timeframes, and have a backup in place. So allow time, assuming that we can even go anywhere and leave the house. Obviously we can't do that right now. I will go over virtual interviews in a second, but if it was a face-to-face interview, plan your journey the night before and have a backup route just in case something happens, and plan enough time in advance so that you know and that you're not flustering on the day figuring all this stuff out. So prepare ahead and plan the day before, and you will be set up for success. On the day of your interview, you've already prepared, you've already looked at questions, you've already done your research. Today is the day to focus. Focus and allow yourself to be confident and calm. So fuel yourself. Sleep, I should have added in here, is absolutely essential, so get a good night's rest. Eat, energize, and don't overdo the coffee. If you normally have 1 or 2 coffees, stick to 1 or 2 coffees. Don't suddenly go for 5 coffees thinking it will make you more energized. It will make you nervous and jittery. Breathe. If you are like me and you get super nervous, or you're anxious, or you're not feeling very confident, your breath is the most powerful tool that you have to allow your body to stay calm and to focus. So focus on your breath. And if you can do that and ignore all the thoughts in your head and just focus on your breath for a minute, that will allow your parasympathetic nervous system to calm down and for you to focus on the task at hand. It allows you to be more present and not be overthinking things. And it will allow all of that great preparation that you've done to come up and show up for you in that moment. And lastly, visualize. And we're going to go into this in a little bit more detail. I've actually spent a little bit of time on mindset on this session, because I think confidence is absolutely everything. And visualizing is a really powerful tool that you can do in any area of your life. If you can imagine any outcome, why not imagine the best possible outcome? Why would you do that? Because it sets you up for success. It tells you that it's possible, and it means that you're going to probably enjoy it more than you would if you went in visualizing the worst. Now, there is something to be said for getting your hopes up, and you know what? And yes, you might get rejected. And yes, you might go in and think that job is terrible. I don't even want to work with them anyway. But why not set yourself up for success and visualize that of all the possible outcomes that could happen, that you are going to go in confident, alert, energized, engaging, and ready to give it your all. and to go in knowing that you did your best. Whatever happens, if you can visualize that for yourself, it is more likely to happen for you. So those are the key things that I would suggest on the day of your interview.